So Canon has finally realized that DJI snuck into its house late at night and took jewels from its underwear drawer, and they want some of those back. So they have released a Canon V1 DJI Pocket 3 killer, in Japan at least. Kind of racist. I think they had a quite racist meeting about it, actually. Konnichiwa, Haru. No, konnichiwa, konnichi, wow, today. Kurohuki, Marushuki, DJI, Hatoki, Roku. Whoa, what a sweet looking camera. That's a game changer by the looks of it. Can I try it for a second? Baiden, Garuku. Mai Shuki Haru Pai Miruku Shimaku Taku. Okay, sorry. I just wanted to try it. It looks interesting. Our audience here in America might appreciate something like that around here. Nice little zoom lens on that. What kind of specs you got in there? Baiden Katana Huki Sharhuki Furu Mai Horuka Toru Nishi Taru Hanishi Ra. I just want to try it. Like, it looks really nice. Does it have 4K 120 with no crop like the DJI Pocket, the HD 240, and a nice gimbal like stave? How's the stave in that thing? It's like a chicken's head. Baiden Karhukoru Mai Pakakureti Pakakureti Shushiki mi Maimoko for Huki Norukiyo.
All I want is the perfect camera. All I want is the perfect camera.
All right, we have a lot to get to. We're on the Canon C70, of course, 24mm 1.4. Boardroom meeting skit was filmed on the Sony ZV1 with the Voigtlander 35mm 1.2. So the Canon V1. There's a lot to love about this thing, some things to not be so happy about. Is it a DJI Pocket 3 killer? We'll switch to it soon. Why not? So picture this, you have a Canon V1 with a micro four thirds type sensor, which is even wider than micro four thirds. Micro four thirds is the weirdest aspect ratio designed only for photography. You end up cropping off a lot of it to get the 16:9. So this is also doing that. It's 3:2, which is like what most full frame cameras are. If you want video, have a 16:9 sensor like this. We're shooting open gate right now, full width, no pixels wasted. 8 megapixels for the perfect 1:1. Oh, we'll get to that right now. 22 megapixels. So here's the deal. Canon is saying this is a video-centric camera, but I do wonder why you have 22 megapixels. You can do 4K 60 with a huge crop because you have too many megapixels. That's my opinion, that you couldn't do a 1:1 readout, even though you have a fan in there cooling everything down. That's why I just beg companies to do what you're doing in here. 8 megapixels, and then it ends up being like 4K 120, no problem overheating, 1:1 readout. That's why video-centric cameras are low megapixel, and 16:9 if you can fit it in there. So this is like not doing that. So you have to wonder what it could have done if it had a 16:9 micro four thirds type of size with 8 megapixels. We'd be looking at 4K 120, no crop, but we're not getting that. A hammer has visited us. It's a not bad thing. Like, I'm seriously debating this one. That's a Pocket 3 killer. Canon color science in a bigger sensor? You kidding me? Quite likely to buy it. Are white people allowed in the store, or do we have to wait up? So no, we're not getting 4K 120 or HD 240. Didn't even see HD 120 in there. If that's missing, I'll be madder than I am right now. But like, if you just put that on the back burner, okay, we don't get everything. A hammer hit our knee. We're still able to walk. You get like nice 4K 60, little crop in there. Could be nice for cinematic stuff. You don't know that it is. You got a zoom lens. So like 70 mil on the long end with that crop, getting some stuff. Slow motion street videography, maybe not very slow, but good enough. When it comes to the lens, it's a 16-50, Tony 2.8 to 4.5. So like what we know in micro four thirds terms, that's like 2 times crop. That's a 5.6 to 9. Ow. It kind of hurts. It's a little bit painful, but it's okay. It's super wide. It reminds us of the Nikon DL series that could have been, only that had a 16-50, 1.8 to 2.8. Imagine the glory of that thing. It had no mic jack, so we would have had to wait for the Mark II, but imagine it. We're almost getting that though. Finally, like 8 years later, we're getting it kind of. From Canon even, with like 10 bits, C-Log 3, not 2. Who needs C-Log 2? I don't need it. If we have it now, it's too much. I don't deserve it. Let's switch to the Pocket 3. I don't deserve this. C-Log 2 is too much dynamic range, light. No thank you to that. Boom. Huh? You know what I mean? This isn't a downgrade in image quality. It's DJI. It's good enough. It's fine. 1-inch sensor. Beautiful. Anamorphic. So like, you could do that. When it comes to, I don't have anything in my brain right now. And when it comes to the rest of these specs, then we'll talk about where it sits versus like this Pocket 3 or the Sony ZV1, not the 2 Mark II. That thing got worse. 3 EV ND filter built in. It's never enough. Really, like, you're not getting normal shutter speeds outside at high noon with that type of weak ND, but it's nice to be in there somewhat. I respect it. I'm happy that it's in there. I'd rather have it than not. I wish it was C-Log 2, but like whatever. When I'm looking at the footage, it does look kind of cheap, but maybe you can get by it. I don't know, you'll tweak it. They don't know how to color grade over there in Japan. They've never seen it. No EVF. I don't even mind it. Happy about it, actually. Would be cool if they had a little pop-up one for you photo takers. Hope you snap a finger. But the cool things are that it has dual pixel autofocus finally in a tiny camera. They've been withholding that for decades. Finally, it's in there. It might be somewhat reliable outside. I don't know. Canon's autofocus is a bit quirky at times. A little schizophrenic if it must. But that should be good, and it does have image stabilization. It's only 5 stops, and I don't know what that's gonna look like on paper, but it might be okay. It's not gonna be DJI Pocket 3 level, but at least it's something. The Canon V10, their first attempt at a DJI Pocket 3 killer was like, it was laughable at best, like no stab, only digital, 4K 24p, like 8-bit everything. Still, it looked pretty good. I kind of want it back. I shouldn't have returned it. When it comes to things I wish they did a little different, obviously it would have been nice if it was a 16:9 low megapixel sensor with full 4K 120 1:1 pixel readout, like actually designed for video, not some hybrid thing that's just some quirky ass micro four thirds coming out of the blue. Like, okay, might be fun, but I wish they had went that direction. I do wish the image stabilization was like a key, like either IBIS Plus image lens stab, something like really focus on that. Whereas it's just kind of in there. We don't know what it's most likely going to be pretty jerky, but Canon has decent digital stab, but then you're cropping 10%, which is not much. 16 is pretty wide, so you can handle that. It might be glorious. The lens, of course, it's going to be flat and clinical. We know that. There's going to be 0 3D pop on it, but is there any on this? I swear I've seen it on the Pocket 3. There could be some in there, but whatever. It's not that necessary for vlogging. I get it, but it would be nice. Like, you have your Sony ZV1 with the Zeiss Batis 18mm. It's like, okay, different price brackets, but like the image, so glorious. Now, when it comes to the competition, if you are going to be vlogging and making like interesting stuff in slow motion, street films, if you will, you're traveling with one of these items, is this really going to stack up against the Pocket 3? Like, would I myself sell this? Oh man, I don't know. The Pocket 3 color science outdoors, at least, not this, don't judge it on this, but like when you take it outside, you do a little color grade and you slap a Kodak LUT on there. It's like, okay, that's a like quite nice look. I don't mind the look at all. So like, will Canon look a little better? Yeah, but it will be nowhere near as stable, that's for sure. Your bigger sensor is mostly just a marketing gimmick. It's just like, it's kind of cool to have bragging rights, but like in practice, having more megapixels and it not being 16:9, are you really doing much more? Like this is a low megapixel output, 12 megapixels, even though it's 48, but they pixel bin 4 into 1, and that makes it 12 somehow. The ZV1 does the same thing. If that's the secret for the future, for hybrids, so you get your 48 megapixel photos and then video guys, you combine the pixels into giant ones, okay, I'm cool with it. But for what I do, I can't imagine this new Canon V1 beating this. Like I get 4K 120 no crop. You have 4K 60 with a crop. We don't even know what that looks like. Could be line skipped and bad. I get HD 240 in here. You might have HD 120. Does autofocus work? I don't know any of these things. And the stability won't be quite as good. Like this is so discreet. You can get such amazing footage. It's ridiculous how good this could be. Whereas this, I don't know, Canon, you can zoom. That's your advantage. You get your 50 mil. I don't know, will that look nice with a 4.5 aperture? Like that's Tony 9 over here. No one does that. So I would have to say the DJI Pocket 3 is the more capable camera for sure. Canon might have the edge in color science. That's about it. And you get to zoom and people might love that. And you could take photos perhaps. When it comes to the ZV1, however, I think that's now outdated. The only advantage it has is the 960 frames per second. It's a little awkward to use because you have to lock exposure and manual focus, and then a lot of crops on that camera. Like it's not wide at all. It's really like a 35 mil lens once you have the digital stave in there. There's no lens or IBIS stave. It's bad news. I do believe Canon has finally caught up to that series at least. At least they're doing something, and usually that's what Canon does. I remember the Sony RX100 came out and it was like, holy cow, a 1-inch sensor. Like that was a new thing in point and shoots. It was glorious, but everyone bought the Canon G7X a year later when it came out because it had the flippy screen. Like, and a touch screen at that, and it was just better. It was Canon color science. It was, so like that's the one I got and used it for years, and it's fine. You just tap and track. I could tap. You think I couldn't? You're ridiculous. So like, I think you finally, there's not a light over there. I'm not revealing all my secrets right now. You're crazy. The ZV1, I believe you've met your match. Canon has outdone you. Better colors, funner lens, wider. They're doing all the things we wish you would have done, Sony. But like, you come out with the ZV1 Mark II and you remove all my fun slow-mo. Thanks for the upgrade. Take that, transitions. This is annoying me. So if I had a choice, this Canon V1 or the Sony ZV1 or ZV1 Mark II or ZV1F, I'm going Canon. Well done, Canon, you've done something. You're not beating my Pocket 3, but you beat someone at least. You raced to your own demise. That's really all there is for competition. I mean, you'd have to step up into like a Nikon Z50 Mark II with a 12 to 28 type of thing. That could compete, but like your thousands now, we don't even know the price of this thing, but we imagine it's gonna be somewhat reasonable, less than 1,000. If it's more than 1,000, what are you doing? But will this be Marcus Pick's new favorite camera, replacing the Sony RX100 Mark VII? Oh God, he's just gonna turn it right into 7-bit, turn log off, and then straight out of camera, standard color science, and you're gonna zoom right on in there, blur out the background. Him and Kara going to Mexico or wherever they go. That's gonna be a fun trip. He's gonna bring his lights, little flashes, tiny little light stands, little miniature ones. But not bad, Canon. I'm appreciating that they're trying to cater to us vlogging scrubs who have no actual offerings to our world. We are scum-like. But like, at least they're looking in our direction and thinking, hey, they might need something. They never could have went to college, but they're doing stuff. That's fun. They're dancing. They're doing all kinds of things online. So it's good. Thank you. And I will maybe buy one used in 15 years. After the Nikon DL comes out, this might spur them out of the slumber and think, oh, Canon's having success. Okay, let's update this thing. And then it's like Nikon with red RAW in the... Oh, wow, I'm dreaming. Can you even imagine it? Nikon DL 18-50, 1.8 to 2.8. 16:9 sensor. 8 megapixels. Red LUTs. The slow motion capabilities. Animal eye detect. Nikon dual sync stabe. Newly invented just for this camera. I'm with you on it. A PF Fresnel lens element. 3D pop out the yin yang. Vintage touch. A prime instead of the zoom. Rewriting the whole thing. 18mm 1.4. Thank you, Nikon. I'm back. What do you think of the V1? It's not even available through my affiliate links. Oh, what a wasted episode. I'm deleting this off the camera. How do you press that hold and start? After you donate Bitcoin, of course. Deleting this file after you subscribe for more.